No good, Greg?
So, yeah,
Yep.
don't talk about anything too serious.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Village Board of Gurnee on March 16, 2026. Roll call, please.
Garner. Gardner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Thornton.
Here.
Goodside.
Present.
Ross.
Here,
Balmes. 5 present, 1 absent.
Y'all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. The first item is public comment. And on public comment, this first one is for any item that is an issue on the agenda for this evening. It's 30 minutes long, and each person is able to speak for 3 minutes. And yeah, just would ask that if there wouldn't be any clapping or anything that would have to do with what you're saying, so that if a person is presenting an opposing viewpoint, that they wouldn't feel bullied. So anybody that would like to make a comment, please step up to the microphone and state your name.
Good evening, trustees and board members. My name is Sue Dilberg. I live in Wentworth, and I have been asked by Keith Owens to read something that he prepared. So I'm reading this on Keith's behalf, who is also a resident in Wentworth. So, at the July 16, 2025 Planning and Zoning Board meeting, during an informal review of a request to rezone 10 parcels of land at the corner of Old Plain Road and Belvedere Road from R2 single-family residential to C2 community commercial district to accommodate a proposed convenience store and a one-story retail building. Commissioner Dane Morgan expressed reservations that because the proposed commercial development would directly abut 2 homes, it would impede on the quiet enjoyment of the homeowners' properties. That's a little background. Unfortunately, the homeowners in the Wentworth subdivision did not have this benefit as a reason concerned when Casey's was allowed by permit to build next to their community. So what has changed since the last time Casey's requested a liquor license? At that time, a trustee expressed the hope that Wentworth would be good neighbors to Casey's. This goes both ways. Good neighbors follow the rules. What is Casey's track record? With regard to trash, Wentworth residents are constantly notifying and documenting for Casey's and the village the need for Casey's to pick up their trash, and Casey's branded napkins, packaging, cups, and even windshield wiper fluid bottles, along with other items, blow over, under, and around their fence and across Wentworth Drive on a daily basis onto homeowners and Bickford's property. All of this we have to clean up. While some of this trash no doubt comes from careless patrons who litter after exiting the store, much of it comes from the Gas Island trash containers that are frequently overflowing. Now Casey's wants to add beer cans and glass beer and wine bottles, and undoubtedly some will be left to blow around after they are consumed in the parking lot. They also have ignored their landscaping. They've allowed their bushes and trees to die almost immediately after they were planted because their contractor failed to maintain the irrigation system and local management didn't stay on top of the situation. Despite numerous notifications from residents to Casey's regional management and the village, it took over a year for Casey's to repair the watering system and to replace most, but still not all, of the dead bushes and trees. And parking is another item. Only after it was requested by Wentworth residents, Casey's posted no parking anytime signs along their access drive coming from Gages Lake Road. Because Casey's doesn't enforce, let alone monitor this, truck drivers and vehicles, buses and vans and cars park along this drive daily, directly adjacent to homes. Most to do so with running engines, where noise and air pollution, and often with radios blaring. Some drivers have told us that their engines are running so they're not parked. Several drivers have ignored homeowners who have pointed out this is a no parking area, some to the point of being abusive to residents. In fact, a shuttle bus driver and several ComEd drivers have told us that they were given permission to park there by the management at Casey's. The village can't designate this as a fire lane, which would allow the Gurnee police to respond as needed, and Casey's management has said they have no desire to request such a designation. So in order to respect the time, I'll allow someone else to speak then.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees. My name is Pat Giovacchini, and I too am a resident of Wentworth and have the same information from Keith Owens he asked us to read. So the next topic that he wanted us to talk about was tobacco and alcohol. So these are Keith's words. As I detailed in 2023, Casey's as a corporation has been specifically cited by the federal government in selling tobacco to minors, even though they post "must be 21 to purchase tobacco products" signs in their stores, and they will tell you that they trained staff to check. Recently, multiple Casey's locations were cited by the state of Illinois for selling alcohol to minors, despite signs that warned both customers and employees that you must be 21 to buy alcohol. The first time Casey's requested a liquor license, they didn't bother to send a representative to your meeting, not even the local liquor manager that is required by the village ordinance. I assume they will have a representative at tonight's meeting, but this won't be the local owner of the store who has skin in the game, like the BP owner who has been granted a license. The reality is that the short-term minimum wage employees are typically not very motivated or concerned about keeping the property clean, motivating parking violations, and diligently enforcing state and local posted regulations about the sale of tobacco and alcohol, including checking to see if the person making the purchase matches the face on the driver's license. A swipe of enter/purchase system is only as good as the final step of the process, an employee diligently checking before they ring up a purchase. For absentee corporate owners, violations are merely a fine. They will pay a normal cost of doing business, and this even after they likely were notified in advance that an inspection is coming. License requests come before the board because not all situations are the same. If they were, then such requests would simply be by permit that community development staff could grant. Casey's request is very different from the one license already granted to the BP station because if for no other reason than all those cited above, Casey's directly abuts residences. I respectfully ask the board to vote no to the license request and once again join the more than 600 residents who signed petitions in 2023 specifically against allowing Casey's to sell alcohol. Thank you for your time and the service to the village.
Thank you.
Good evening. Shelley Palmer. I'm also a resident of Wentworth. Casey's once again is applying for a license to sell alcohol. I respectfully ask that the trustees vote against allowing Casey's to receive one. Casey's was well aware that many community members and many Wentworth homeowners, Wentworth subdivision is the one directly behind Casey's, were opposed to a gas station convenience store in their backyard and further opposed to one that could potentially sell beer and wine. At that time, trustees asked us to be good neighbors. They couldn't ask Casey's because they did not send a representative to the meeting. Casey's time and time again has failed to be good neighbors. They failed to maintain their property, and letters along with photos and video evidence had to be written and sent to corporate headquarters to clean up trash that had been left in their landscape beds for weeks. Trash from Casey's regularly blows onto our streets and lawns. Landscape plantings at Casey's were not taken care of. Weeds, dead and dying vegetation were ignored, and more letters, video evidence, and pictures had to be sent to the corporate team and the village to show the evidence. For several months, Casey's failed to follow both Casey's and the village's requirements to close dumpster lids. Photo evidence also available. Despite posting no parking signs, Casey's allows cars, buses, and trucks to park along the access drive behind the homes along Doral Drive. Casey's basically allows this area to be used for parking. They refuse to ask for it to be designated as a fire lane, which would allow the village to keep this from being a parking lot. To Casey's, these obviously seem like trivial infractions, but to the neighborhood Casey's decided to build in, it's been an eyesore to our community and an insult to the village trustees who welcomed them into it. This information, the next part of the information is just Illinois information, not state, not national, but just Illinois. The Illinois Liquor Control Commission, ILCC, releases results of underage compliance check operations throughout the state. Additionally, monthly summary reports are published that compile information from all infractions. During underage compliance checks, individuals under the age of 21 years working with licensed ILCC Division of Enforcement staff attempt to purchase alcohol from liquor license retailers. These operations are conducted in all regions of the state. Establishments that fail an underage compliance check are subject to a fine, suspension, or revocation of their liquor license. Despite these threats of action, in all but October and December of 2025, at least one Casey's location was cited every month for selling alcohol to minors. If a multi-million-dollar gas station, convenience store, can't handle or doesn't care enough to handle the basic tasks of running their operations efficiently and with care, where is the trust and confidence they will enforce rules to ensure underage customers cannot purchase alcohol? Can you have trust and confidence a minimum wage employee cares enough to closely check a driver's license or to determine if a customer is inebriated and should not be allowed to purchase more alcohol? A petition prior to Casey's being built was signed by more than 600 Gurnee residents who shared concerns about building a Casey's in the Wentworth neighborhood. The potential sale of alcohol was specifically noted in the petition. Time and time again, Casey's has failed to be good neighbors. Now the time has come, and tonight you're being asked by Casey's to approve a license to sell alcohol. I'm asking you to protect the citizens of Gurnee and surrounding communities by voting no to issuing that license to Casey's. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sue Corpay, and I live in Wentworth also. I actually live directly east of the entrance to the subdivision. I'd like to start out by saying that I'm only a 5-year resident of Gurnee, but working for Lake County Juvenile Court System for 38 years, I'm very familiar with all areas of the village. To be honest, there were times in the past that Gurnee did not have a good reputation within the county. This was mainly because of Gurnee Mills, which seemed to be a gang hangout to the point that our juvenile judges were banning probationers from going there, as well as Six Flags, that still attracts gang members and other bad influences to the park during the summer. However, I knew that Gurnee wasn't all that bad, as several of my colleagues, including judges, attorneys, professionals, friends, and family, live here. Some who had even grown up here, and I think a few of you up on the board can identify with that. It was a hard sell for our realtor, but once we discovered Wentworth and moved here, we were pleasantly surprised. We needed a ranch due to my husband's medical issues, and although we did not want to go this far north due to family and medical services being south, we loved that Wentworth was all ranches, well-maintained, in a very nice, quiet neighborhood with mostly senior residents. We investigated the plot of land in front of the Wentworth subdivision immediately. In fact, I spoke with the realtor who was selling the property and the village. We were told that it had been rezoned years back and that there could be a commercial business built on that property. That is one of the reasons we did not buy a house directly backing up to the property, but instead across the street with a beautiful view on the pond. We never expected, however, that a gas station would be approved, especially one that was open 24 hours and adjacent to a residential area that is extremely quiet and calm, including Southridge, and across from a nursing home. Well, it happened, and we have learned to live with it despite objections from our neighborhood and surrounding areas. We are very disappointed to say that the majority of fears about the development of this property have come true. Most specifically, Casey's is not a good neighbor. They have let their landscaping deteriorate despite information given to corporate and the village. It is our understanding that the village has intervened and issued warnings, which has resulted in minor improvements. However, they do not pick up the garbage that is strewn all over the lawn on their property and the street, and frequently ends up in our yards and in the pond. Employees smoke weed behind the building, and in the summer, loitering is allowed in the north parking lot with loud music. These same fast and furious cars speed through the neighborhood regularly. I have a whole file of pictures here if anyone would like to view them later with the garbage that is routinely seen on their property. I see everything up close and personal as I have a young dog who needs frequent walking. On numerous occasions, he has picked up pieces of hamburgers, Casey's pizza, chicken wings, and even things that could be dangerous like oil cans, hoses, broken beer and liquor bottles, and tobacco products. In summary, I would like to reiterate the fact that Casey's is not taking care of their property or living up to the expectations of being a good neighbor as they promised. And I would strongly and respectfully encourage you to vote no in regards to their award of a liquor license, as they have not followed through with the requirements of the local ordinances and the promises that were made to our neighborhood when you all voted yes, or some of you voted yes, for the gas station. Why reward them when their business practices are poor already? Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Diane Cobb, and I moved here because I wanted to be taken care of as far as, my grass, and, it just got very hard for me to do those things on my own. And another reason for me to be speaking to you is I was hit by 2 drunk drivers. About 40 years ago, I was picking up one of my daughters, my 6-year-old daughter, and I was on Sheridan Road and Belvedere. And 10:30 on a Saturday morning, I was hit by a drunk driver. He was visiting. He was driving his brother-in-law's car. He had no insurance, and he was drunk as can be. He was well over 3%. He was arrested. The police found him 3 hours after. He didn't even know where he was, what his name was. He was fast asleep in his brother's residence. I was very sick. I was single at the time because my husband had left me. I had 2 young daughters. I had to work full time. I had a migraine headache for the first 10 months and was in therapy for 2 years. Then about 20 years ago, I was on my way home, and I was on Sunset and Lewis Avenue in Waukegan. I was car number 7 hit by a drunk driver on a Thursday night at 5:30 p.m. This same thing, it scares me. And I don't even know what else to say other than I am hopeful that you will vote against this. We do not need this. And I think my neighbors have really stated many valuable reasons for why this should not be done. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mike Veroni. I'm also a resident of Wentworth. And I just want to address the structural traffic problems at the intersection of Wentworth Drive, the outlet, just a little outlet about less than 100 yards long, the outlet and inlet to the subdivision. I'm going to talk about root cause structural things that can't be changed. What's here is here, and these things can't be changed. First of all, it was built as this inlet and outlet to a residential area. So the turning radiuses for turning in and out are built that way. They're not nice, nice broad turning radiuses, and it's a little bit narrow. Anyway, the issue is if you're coming on Hunt Club Road from the south going north, when you approach this Wentworth Drive, you get in a right turn only lane, and then you have to hug the curb and make a perfect student driver turn, right angle along the curve, so that you then can turn in. And when you make that turn, you can't do it wide because there's a left-hand turn lane coming out on Wentworth Avenue. You got to make a perfect turn. The village was kind enough to try and help us with the herding cats that's going to go on out there. But the 3 lanes, 2 going out, 1 coming in, only allow that coming in lane to be very, very narrow, and you got to make a tight turn. If you're making a left-hand turn off a Hunt Club, it's the same thing. You have to make a perfect left-hand turn in order to then come straight down the throat of that 1 lane that you have to come. And again, most people, when they're going to then make their right into Casey's, veer over into anyone oncoming in the left lane so they can make their turn in the driveway, because we all know that's, people don't make good turns anymore. So the ins and the outs there are very difficult. And again, you can't change that. You can't change that now. The next thing I wanted to talk about was just really briefly, and in that environment, this tight area that need perfect turns and hopefully no traffic, waiting to turn. In this really tight area, people are in a hurry. People aren't just, kind of relaxed and they're going to get their gas. You're kind of in a hurry. You want to get in, you want to get out. Let's talk about getting out. When you come out, you leave the Casey driveway. The Wentworth Ave, when you come out and make your left turn to get to Hunt Club, this is important. Wentworth Drive, is treated as an extension of the Casey's driveway. It's an extension of that Casey's driveway. What do you do when you come out of a gas station driveway? You come out and you get going. You come out, you careen out, and you get going. It's the driveway. No, it's not. There's 3 lanes of traffic out there. 2 of them heading out. And as you careen out of that driveway, that's problems. And you think, well, Mike, okay, that's great. You're getting exercised up there. It happens all the time. I have never seen a car turn right off a Hunt Club to go on Wentworth Drive. I have never seen a car not spill over into the left-hand turn lane that's trying to get out. I have never seen one car do that. There just isn't the room. Cars coming off a Hunt Club that have to make that sharp turn. I was coming out the other day, and a guy was sitting, a guy or gal, I don't know, was sitting out on Hunt Club to make a left-hand turn. I'm making a left-hand turn on a Hunt Club. There were a couple cars, I'm waiting, he's waiting. The area, it clears, he's waiting. And I'm wondering, I didn't know what was wrong. I thought, is the guy sick or something? And all of a sudden, he starts waving me. And I realize he's out there on Hunt Club, and he doesn't know how to make the left-hand turn. He's waiting for me to get out of the way. I'm in my turning lane. I'm back by the stop sign, but I'm in the way of him. He couldn't handle it. And I'm glad either the guy has never been there before and he didn't get it, or he's been there before and he knows what he's about to try and do and he didn't want to do it. So we add a convenience store into this mix, and now you got people, again, they're getting gas. Now they got to go to the convenience store. You don't go to Jewel to get a bag if all you want is a bag of chips. You go somewhere where you can run in, you can run out. People are in a hurry to get out and out, and this tight intersection just wasn't built for it. So now we're going to add liquor to the mix. That's incredible. That is just incredibly irresponsible. That structural that root cause of that traffic, that tight traffic, it can't be changed. So let's add liquor into the mix. Oh, and by that, you know, sure, not everyone's going to be
You're gonna have
drinking.
to, if your neighbors want to talk, you can finish your thought, but if there's someone else, we've got 5 minutes left, so
Okay,
you can,
so-
but go ahead and say what you're going to say. I don't want to
Real,
cut you
real
short,
quick.
but
The only thing I want to remind people of is you think, well, people aren't going to go in the outside with their six-pack and drink a six-pack. No. But a lot of the people, some of the people that go in, they're drinking already. We've heard about that. The Lake County Sheriff saw it at the intersection of Grand Avenue in Milwaukee last Saturday night. The drunk driving, 3 cars right in a row, boom, boom, boom. So you got, it's just irresponsible to throw liquor on. Casey's has their gas station. Hopefully, you know, cash flow is pretty good. It's a pretty busy place. You know, throwing this extra cash flow on there, it's just irresponsible in my opinion. Thanks. Sorry, Mayor.
no, that's fine. Thank you. All right, the floor is closed, and at this point, we'll move on from public comment. There's public comment at the end where you can speak about anything you like. It doesn't have to be an item on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thornton.
Aye.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Carries. Pat?
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the March 2nd, 2026 Budget Workshop number 1 and regular board meeting. Item number 2, approval of request for Police Department Care Team members, Officer Corey White and Social Worker Rebecca Price to attend the National Co-Responder Conference in Dallas, Texas from June 7th through the 10th, 2026 at a cost not to exceed $4,200. Item number 3, approval of Public Works Department recommendation to award purchase and installation of a Kohler 20 kilowatt standby generator and transfer switch to the low bidder or low proposer, Kelso Burnett, at a cost of $20,010. Number 4, approval of Public Works Department recommendation to award the purchase of 10 fire hydrant assemblies to the low proposer, Core & Main, at a cost of $59,699.40. Number 5, approval of Information System Division's recommendation to renew a 36-month multi-site service order agreement with Comcast Business for coax internet and analog telephone services, and a 37-month Comcast Enterprise service order for fiber Ethernet services at an estimated cost of $147,144.60. Number 6, approval of Information System Division's recommendation to enter a 24-month multi-service order agreement with Comcast Business for SIP trunk telephone services at an estimated cost of $24,000. Number 7, approval of setting a bid date of April 20th, 2026 for the Fuller Road reconstruction project. 8, approval of issuing a raffle license and waiving the bond requirement for the Illinois Probation and Court Services Association Spring Conference to be held April 22nd through the 24th, 2026 at the 10 Hotel. Number 9, approval of payroll for period ending March 6, 2026 in the amount of $1,010,789.32. Number 10, approval of bills for period ending March 16, 2026 in the amount of $2,522,149.83.
Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Second. By trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thornton.
Aye.
Woodside. Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries on to petitions and communications. Item number 1, approval of proclamation designating April as Fair Housing Month in the Village of Gurnee. April 11, 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of Fair Housing Act, which guarantees equal housing opportunities for all citizens. Therefore, April is acknowledged as Fair Housing Month and recognizes the importance of fair housing laws and programs in eliminating discrimination and ensuring that individuals in Illinois can choose where to live without being discriminated against on their race, color, religion, age, gender, marital status, national origin, and or disability. It's important to recognize the role of fair housing groups and other organizations in promoting and preserving equal opportunity. Gurnee has made efforts and continues to make efforts to provide fair, equal, and affordable housing to all residents. According to a 2023 statewide report on local government affordability from the Illinois Housing Development Authority, Gurnee had 11,630 total units, with 3,748 classified as affordable housing, about 32.2% of its housing stock, more than 3 times the required 10%. Now therefore, I, Thomas Hood, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in the Village of Gurnee and encourage all residents, businesses, and organizations to promote and preserve equal housing opportunities for all. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee O'Brien, second by Trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Proclamation carries, I should say. On to the second one. Approval of proclamation designating April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and recognizing the Blue Kids Lake County Project. During the month of April, we recognize National Child Abuse Prevention Month and the importance of communities working together to help families thrive and prevent child maltreatment. Throughout the year, communities are encouraged to increase awareness about child and family well-being and work together to implement effective strategies that support families and prevent child abuse. Further, I'd like to recognize Lake County Children's Advocacy Center Blue Kids Program for encouraging our local businesses, schools, and communities to have conversations about child abuse in Lake County, engaging people to speak up and create public awareness. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Hood, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the Village of Gurnee. I call upon and encourage all residents to join in dedicating their energies to cherishing our children and helping them grow and develop free from physical, emotional, and sexual harm. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Thorstensen, second by Trustee Ross. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No reports, no old business. On to new business. Item number 1, approval of ordinance 2026-09, granting a zoning map amendment pursuant to the Gurnee zoning ordinance for 1501 Tri-State Parkway. Pat?
Sure. So you may remember this. I got a memo from our Assistant Community Development Director, Jake Litz. So a year ago, there was a little sliver of property by Restaurant Depot that was outside of the village that we forced annexed and then brought that in as R1, which is our most restrictive zoning district. We said we'd be back to rezone that at some point, and then went to the Planning and Zoning Board, went to it before. They were fine with it, and then kind of fell through the cracks. So here we are back a year later before the board to finally rezone that property. So brought in as R1, looking to rezone it to I1, which is what the rest of Restaurant Depot is. Again, it's a 0.1 acre parcel there that just, again, it was unincorporated, so now brought it in as R1, time to rezone it to I1 and wrap this up and get it taken care of. So,
Is there a motion?
So move.
By Trustee Garner. Second by Trustee Woodside. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thornton.
Aye.
Woodside. Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. Item 2, approval of ordinance 2026.
10.
Approving and publishing the official zoning map of the Village of Gurnee. Pat?
sure. So I'll bring this before the board every March. Typically it's under consent, but since we had this rezoning that we just approved, put it after it under new business. So do this every year, just update our zoning map with any changes related to annexations or zoning or subdivisions. We've had 6 rezonings and annexations since it was last approved last year. So again, those changes are listed in your memo, all approved by the village board. So now it's just time to update the zoning map.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Ross.
Second.
Second by Trustee Thorstensen. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thornton.
Aye.
Woodside. Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. On to item 3, approval of ordinance 2026.
11.
Adding 1 Class 16 liquor license by amending Section 6-56 of Article 2 of Chapter 6, the Gurnee Municipal Code entitled Alcoholic Beverages, Casey's, 391 South Hunt Club Road. Pat?
Sure. So back in March of 2023, the village board created the Class 16 liquor license available to gas stations that have a convenience store, commercial kitchen, minimum building size of 4,000 square feet, Other regulations put on it, limited to beer and wine sales only between 9 and 9. Walk-in coolers sizes were limited, had to have electronic access. And then if there was displays and cooler doors, there was limits on that size and access as well. So Casey's, as far as the building requirements, kitchen size, et cetera, meets the requirements, so they've applied for a Class 16. Police Department did its background check, as they typically do, found nothing to preclude the license, so it's before you for consideration. We did receive 10 emails on the subject matter. 9 were against, 1 was for, and then also Mr. Owen's letter was included in your packet.
All right, we'll just start with the motion, then we'll have some discussion afterwards if there is any. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion to approve. Yeah. Motion by Trustee O'Brien. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Woodside. I'll start on my left for any comments or questions. My right, any comments or questions? Trustee O'Brien?
Just my homework. I did read all the emails, I heard all the comments, but I also noticed all the commentary on social media. And so then I checked with Gurnee Police, and I asked, how was the compliance? And in the past year, there were 4 failed compliance checks. All 4 were tobacco. 3 were vape, 1 was cigarette. None were Casey's, none were the BP. I also asked if there were any issues with the BP, which happens to also be next to a church and across the street from 2 senior facilities, and they said there were no issues there. That was my homework.
Thank you. There isn't any more questions or comment?
I'm sorry.
Oh, Trustee Thorson, okay.
I thought we made an eye nod there.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I appreciate all of the emails that came in for and against, as well as everyone that spoke tonight. That was really tremendous information to help me with my decision, and I see no value to extend alcohol sales to the business.
All right. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Nay.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Said aye? She
He
didn't.
said yes.
Thornton.
Wait, you said nay.
No, I said aye.
You said aye.
Thornton.
Nay.
I'm sorry?
Excuse me.
Nay.
Okay.
So you can't interrupt.
Woodside.
You need to, oh, I'm sorry.
Casey's is here and would like to speak, and they've, the 30 minutes was used up before anybody wanted to hear from them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't allow you to do that. We're not done with our voting yet, so I apologize. I certainly would give the petitioner an opportunity to speak. So if you guys would like to speak, and then if we'll recall the vote again after we have an opportunity to hear what you have to say. So who would like to speak from Casey?
Thank you for taking the time. My name's Scott Frazier. I'm the district manager for Casey's. If you're fine, I'd like to just read some notes that I have. Well, we built this location in 2024. We built it following all rules and regulations with the anticipation of selling beer. The store was built with a walk-in beer cooler or a store within a store for customers to shop. This location is secured with a system where you need to scan a valid driver's license showing you're 21 years or older to get in. The store also has an iPad at the checkouts for overall control of the security system. The iPad allows us to open, lock the door remotely. An alarm will sound when the door is not closed properly or within 5 seconds. There's also an alarm above the door that has red, yellow, green coating light that you can see throughout the entire store. Green is locked, red means someone's in the beer cooler, yellow means the door is ajar for too long. The alarm system doesn't allow for issues, doesn't stop until the issues are resolved. There's also security cameras located inside the cooler. Once a customer decides on the purchase they want to make, proceed to the checkouts with their driver's license scanned to validate that they are 21. Basically, this is a double scan check in the store validating age. We're not looking to sell individual beer cans, and we only want to sell cases of beer to our customers. This eliminates theft and daily consumption at the store. We're not asking to sell wine. We're not asking to sell any liquor besides beer. This current location has never had a bar or a sting incident that they didn't pass. Those audits are validating that they're not selling to minors. No fines or issues at this location since they've opened. I've been a DM at Casey's for now 8 months, had over 3 million total transactions, and we haven't failed one audit. Skylar, who's here today, is the new store manager at the store and has been there since September of 2024. She's rebuilt the team, and it's currently one of our best Casey's location in the division. This location is also our district training store for all the Casey's in the Northern Illinois market. They train all new hires, certify the training before they go back to their stores. This team is passionate about following procedures and executing them to the rules and regulations set forth by the local village. All team members have received their Bassett certification and understand the laws and regulations when it comes to selling alcohol. Not even a quarter mile down the road is BP, and they have the license to sell beer and wine. We're not asking for anything more than what you already approved for that locations. We are aware that we have local neighbors right behind our store. The goal is to get along and be a great neighbor. Any feedback that's brought to our attention, we have reacted with urgency. An example, we had a chicken wire all along the fence line to ensure no debris got in the neighbor's yard. We landscaped the entire lot, planting new trees and bushes for nice curb appeal. We walk our lots daily and address any issues that we see. We're proud of our appearance. We have many neighbors within the community that love the convenience that Casey's brings and the services they receive. We often get lots of positive feedback on how clean and well lit the store is from the outside. It brings a safe environment. We've had numerous customers asking when we'll be able to sell beer, and currently have to tell people they have to drive to our competitor that does sell the beer. We appreciate your time and hearing us today. We hope you give us the opportunity to grow our business and really continue to serve our community we live in. Go ahead, Sam.
Thanks for the time. I'm Sam Woodard, Region Director for Casey's. And there's been a lot of communication from my good friend, Mr. Owens. And I as well have a note from Mr. Owens that I would like to share, dated Monday, 11/24 of 25 at 4:04 p.m. From Keith. Sam, me. First, I want to thank you and the Casey's team for addressing many of the concerns I have raised in the past about your location in Gurnee, Illinois. Specifically, number one, your landscape crew has removed all the dead plantings, save 1 or 2 trees, and have replaced them with comparable new trees and bushes. Hopefully, the dry fall will not severely damage these, as was the case last year. Point 2, I noted a contractor was testing, and I assume repairing the irrigation system. That watered the landscape beds. I noted that they were also bleeding the line, so hopefully the system won't freeze, break this winter, fingers crossed. Point 3, I noticed on several occasions a team member out on the property picking up trash, debris. I also assume this is part of the daily to-do list for the staff. This has helped reduce the amount of trash blowing onto the neighboring property. And actually, that's something we do multiple times a day, Keith, so thank you for noticing. However, with the prevailing winds, and particularly strong prevailing winds, homes along the fence continue to have issues from time to time where the fence borders against your property. As the owner of one of those properties, I've noted that most of this trash is not Casey's branded trash or logo trash, with the exception of the empty gallon of Casey's windshield fluid that was noted earlier. This implies that perhaps that the trash continues to, This implies that perhaps the trash that continues to appear in the yards is coming from trash containers at the pumps. And if the staff could double down on policing those areas, it may help. I'm going to fast forward real quick because I don't want to continue to bore you, but want to get to the end here where Keith kind of wrapped it up. And he talked about the access road and said that, hey, I realize that your staff is not expected to monitor this access drive as the Gurnee police are not willing to do it. But if a few extra words could help reduce the problem, that would be greatly appreciated. Respectfully, Keith Owens, and he goes on to put his phone number and email. Mayor, you can have a copy of this if you like.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else from the petitioner? I apologize for, thank you for standing up and saying something. That rescued us just in time. So what I'd like to do is do a reset. So we go back to the part for a motion and a second, and then have any discussion based on what they said, or you can add anything else you like. So why don't we go back, and if we'd strike that initial motion that was made, and is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien. Is there a second? Second by trustee Woodside. I'll go to my left for any questions or comments, specifically with reference to what was just said, or you can talk about anything else about this if you'd like.
This is one of those issues that brings a lot of attention, and attention that we have to pay attention to. And this has been ongoing for several years and goes back to the desire for the neighbors not to have a gas station and convenience store in the neighborhood. That's a settled issue. So the question tonight is about the liquor license specifically. And it is a difficult question. And in my mind, it is a matter of, we have written a very restrictive ordinance, the most restrictive ordinance of any community in Lake County. Buying gas or buying beer or wine at a convenience store at a gas station is commonplace in virtually every place except for Gurnee. We have been slow, and intentionally and well-planned slow in moving that needle, or permissive in issuing liquor licenses like this. The decision was made by this board to issue those. So, to my mind, it becomes a competitive disadvantage to not consider having issued a liquor license to a very similar place not too far away. There are only a couple of places, 3 places in Gurnee that are even eligible under the restrictions of the ordinance. So, to my mind, selling beer at a gas station doesn't change the character of the establishment. I don't believe it changes the character of our community. It's a reasonable thing to do. I am in.
No comment.
Okay. All right. So, trustee Ross.
I would like to hear from the actual person that the people are complaining that the manager doesn't take care of things and haven't been a good neighbor. And I understand that you're from corporate, but I'd like to hear from the manager in response to the people's complaints.
Are you the manager? There you go. Please state your name.
Skylar Howell. I'm the store manager for Gurnee, Casey's. I've been there since September, like you said, of 2024. It's come a long way. There's a lot of training that has happened. A lot of compliance as far as asking and following the asks of the neighbors. We've tried to be a good neighbor. We've gone above and beyond, in my opinion. As far as the garbage, they are trained to go outside 3 times a day. We do our best with controlling that. The island receptacles, those we try our best to get out and change immediately when they're more than halfway full. My team is trained to card everyone who looks under 40. And they have already been taught and talked to about the process that it would be to double scan and double ID everyone who walks into the cooler, let alone comes to the register. Sorry, I'm not good at public speaking, but doing my best.
So far, so good.
But everyone who walks into my store, they know my expectations. I don't have low expectations. The presentation of the store represents me as a manager, along with my team, and we do our best to keep it that way. And I want to continue to keep it that way. It would benefit us to, we're not trying to go out of our way to sell more than like liquor, as they said. We're just asking for beer. And I know that my team can handle the fact that we need to be IDing every customer. I know that we can follow through with being a good neighbor. And I think if you guys give us a chance and the willing to trust us as a business owner or a business manager, that I think we could succeed and definitely not disappoint. As far as the daily task list that Keith was referring to, anything that he has asked or anything that the neighborhood has brought to my attention in person versus emails or pictures to corporate has been addressed. It's just a matter of communication. If there's something that you need done or there's something that's bothering you, just come to me. It's an open door policy at my store, and it's always been like that. So I just want to make sure that the neighborhood knows that and understands that we're here to work together and work as a team, not work against each other. And other than that, I think that's all I have to say.
Do you have any questions or no?
No, just a comment. You understand that it's a 55 plus place, and they wanted it to be like a strip mall there, or something quieter.
Like a commercial, yeah.
Yeah, like a doctor's office, a hairdresser, or something, just in, and that's what they were promised by the builder. And so it was zone commercial, which meant that you could be there by right. And so I just think that we hear what they're saying, and it feels like you haven't been good neighbors. But it's hard for us to judge if they're being overly watching so closely that one little thing, or if it really is what they're going through is difficult. So if this passes, I just want you to really be true to your word, because we were told before that you were going to be good neighbors.
Yes, 100%. That's what we're here to do. As far as being in Gurnee to begin with, we're just here to grow, and I want to grow with them. And again, open door policy. If there's something that you want changed, come and tell me. I'm more than willing to go above and beyond for the community, let alone the guests that come into my store. So I guess I'm asking for your guys' trust on that as well as theirs. Don't be afraid to come in and ask.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Trustee Thurston?
I appreciate the additional information from Casey's management team. I value hearing about your controls and your practices, so I think that's certainly to your favor. I would say, though, that we still have a history that we need to get past, and possibly since Mr. Owen's letter, or to this day, possibly things have improved, but when you hear the tone, the overall tone from the neighbors, it doesn't appear like that is the case, so I think we need more history.
All right. Anything else? Okay. So we'll try this again. Roll call vote, please.
Garner.
Nay.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Nay.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Nay.
Okay, so the
Three.
motion. Go ahead.
2 ayes, 3 nays.
Motion fails. All right. On to the next item, item number 4. Approval of Public Works Department request to partner with BA Solutions for the submittal of a ComEd instant discount incentive application for the purchase of 400 LED street lamps at a cost not exceeding $22,000.
Sure. So Public Works Department, we've got 434 Cobra Head LED lamps that were originally purchased in 2013. fallen out of warranty and approaching their 15 to 20-year serviceable life. So staff has been looking at approaches to getting those lights replaced. We've worked with BA Solutions in the past as far as securing grant funding to replace LED lighting. So Public Works worked with them. There is a 2026 ComEd Instant Discount Incentive that is coming available that would cover 90% of the purchase of the costs of the remaining 400 lamps that we need to replace if we were selected. So partner with BA, they would apply for the incentive on the village's behalf, supply the lights and support, including the 5-year warranty period. The purchase price of the 400 lamps would be $242,000 in total, but if we receive the 90% participation from ComEd, our cost is only $22,000. So what staff is requesting at this point is to move forward with BA Solutions for them to apply for those incentives on our behalf. If they're awarded, great, can move forward with it. If they're not awarded, obviously staff will return to the village board with a much smaller purchase, probably around the $20,000 that we have available in the budget, and continue to keep our eyes open for grant funding in the future to help bring those costs down.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second by Trustee O'Brien, second by Trustee Thorstensen. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Aye.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. Item 5, approval of Public Works Department recommendation to award the 2026 concrete sidewalk replacement program to Schroeder and Schroeder, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $300,000. Extension of 2025 joint bid with Arlington Heights, 3% increase in cost. Pat?
Yep. So when we can, we joint bid projects with other communities. I've had success joining up with Arlington Heights and some other communities on the sidewalk program. Last year, Schroeder and Schroeder received the contract. They're typically the main company that puts in bids on that. The year before they didn't put in, but prior to that had typically won the award. So getting ready for this coming season, Schroeder and Schroeder reached out, said they would continue with a 3% increase. Based on construction costs, staff finds that pretty reasonable. The focus this year will be Zone 2, which is generally the center of the village. So you've got Providence Oaks, Providence Village, South Ridge, Fairway Ridge, Heather Ridge, and then Tri-State and Center Point Industrial Park. So $300,000 is what is in the proposed budget, so staff is looking to move forward with Schroeder and Schroeder. They estimate the program at $291,000, but just to leave a little wiggle room in case they find something out in the field, requesting a not to exceed sidewalk program of $300,000 with Schroeder and Schroeder.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Ross. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Aye.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. On to public comments. This public comment, like I said, it can be up to 60 minutes long, 3 minutes for each person, and it can be on any item, does not have to be on the agenda. Okay, floor is closed. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee O'Brien, second by Trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
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 We're adjourned.